Hey everyone, welcome back to Magically Unstable. I'm Kurt.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Nicole.
And we are here to talk about Disney.
And our anxiety.
And that's why we're magically unstable.
Oh, Jesus.
Let's do that one more time.
Or we can just keep that whole thing.
Oh my God, that made me lightheaded. Oh my God.
I'm Kurt.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Nicole.
And we are here to talk about Disney.
And our anxiety.
And that's why we're
magically unstable.
Alrighty guys, welcome back to another week of us being magically unstable. Let's get started in this week's episode. Nicole, how was your week?
Well, it was all right. I dropped my entire venti Starbucks in the bottom of my car the second that I got it today. So my floor mat smells like molding
Juice.
Yeah. It was a full one too. There was nothing to salvage. But otherwise it hasn't been.
Did you go back and get another one?
Later that day. Because I was like, I guess that's just my sign to drink some water. And now I'm working through this one right now. What?
Did you go back and was like, hey, I just dropped my drink.
No,
Can I have
that's
another
fucking
one?
Embarrassing. Absolutely not.
Oh my God. Okay, but then you just paid for
drink.
two.
Yeah, I know.
You literally spent like $12 on Starbucks.
And you know what? It's
drink.
pretty good. It's pretty good. So it's fine.
All right,
Got some
very
stars
nice.
from it. But yeah. So Nick, how's your week?
I like that you. I like that you
Kurt's
lead in.
not done. Kurt's not
No,
done.
I like that you lead in with the negative, awful thing that happened to you today when you literally got the COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
That's like an amazing thing, and I think that should be your thing.
Nicole's
of the week.
like,
I got vaccinated.
I dropped
today.
my Starbucks today.
That's like the shining
I got my
downer.
Starbucks and a microchip in my arm.
Right. I've got half of my software update.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep.
We're on our way to
10.0.
Nicole 2.0.
Hell yeah. Great. Yeah, Nick, how was your week?
Oh God, it's like one of those weeks, man, where I just like don't really remember. I also got.
Could it be because Sorry.
Nicole literally stole my line about my own life. Yeah, I got the COVID vaccine, so that's great. This week has been like kind of surreal. Anyway, yeah, there were just a lot of weird things that we never expected to happen this week, and it feels like very weird and surreal. I think overall it's been a great week. Vaccinated, excited, otherated. I don't know. Anyway, Kurt, how was your week?
Yeah, I mean, my week was good. I feel like this week has literally been a fever dream in every sense of the word. But I also, by the time this comes out, will be vaccinated. So that's exciting. Hey, we gonna be the Pfizer gang.
We are Pfizer gang.
Alex also got the Pfizer.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, we decided because my fiance Michael and Kurt's fiance Peter both got Moderna. We were like, if there's a zombie outbreak, like let's say like Moderna, it's us versus like people we love. You know what I mean?
Right.
If one of the vaccines are like mutated or something, we're going to have to like kill our partners or they're going to have to kill us.
They're probably going to have to kill us.
That's fair. That's true. Nicole will just fucking be the only zombie that's allowed to live.
Because she'll freeze
No,
to
because then
death.
I'd have to ward off the Moderna, the anti-vaxxers, and the Johnson & Johnson.
That's true.
Oh, man.
No, you cannot leave me in the Pfizer gang by myself.
Fair.
I will not survive.
That's fair.
But yeah, that was my week. It was pretty good. Let's head into housekeeping.
Okay, so housekeeping, yay! I really feel like we should say this part at the beginning, but I guess I'm just gonna say it every week until infinity, until I die.
It's your thing.
Yes.
You just gotta do it.
Yes, I do. So, hi, if you're new, welcome to Magically Unstable. But if you're not new, welcome back as well. We love you. But if you don't know us, housekeeping is where we talk about all things Disney news and exciting stuff. So let's talk about it. Kurt, what do you have for Disneyland this week?
Oh, man. Buckle the fuck in, because we're going to be here for the next hour and a half.
Like Kurt is like the like 80-year-old granny who's got her life stories and like lights up a cigarette and is like, you got time? Because Disneyland has just like put
Literally.
you through it.
They have been spewing information this week, like specifically in this past week.
Perfect.
Oh, all right. So let me start by, I guess, just giving a quick little bit of information that's pretty exciting, is that Avengers Campus finally has an opening day. So that's cool. June 4th is going to be the opening day of Avengers Campus.
Yee.
So that's my quick bit. And now for my very informative news that's going to take up the rest of the podcast.
Podcast over.
For real. So I'm just going to start out by saying that if you want more specific details on anything that I'm about to say, head over to the official Disneyland website, because that's where I got all of this information from. And it probably, if you read through what they have, will make more sense than what I'm going to try to say.
Nice.
So, yeah, like I said, a lot of things have been spewing out of the Disneyland resort this week. So I guess I'll start off with, we can finally buy tickets. That was announced. I mean, we can't buy them yet, but it was announced that we will be able to buy them and how much they are, how much the price is going to be. So some nice steps forward for us here in California. I guess I'll just really hit it off with saying that like park hopping is going to be available like right away from the beginning. Tickets are going to be sold to only California residents, and you cannot be in a group at Disneyland with a group larger than 3 households.
That is a lot of people.
Yeah, not really sure how they're going to like monitor that though. Park hopping will be allowed with a valid park hopper ticket after 1 p.m. though. So it's a little bit different than Walt Disney World in that sense. Yeah, but the same kind of goes that you have to start your day at the park that you made the reservation for. And then park hopping is obviously only allowed if the other park has not reached capacity. So some details on those tickets is that it's going to be kind of based on the Walt Disney World model, I guess. So you have to have a ticket and a reservation for the specific day to get into the park. The only difference is that Disneyland is starting out with allowing the park hopper passes, like I said. So it's going to be on April 9th. If you currently hold a theme park ticket, you will be able to actually see the days that you can reserve coming up for your specific type. On April 12th, park reservations are going to be released to people who have those tickets already. And then on April 15th, they're going to open up ticket sales to everybody else. All of that is going to happen no earlier than 8 a.m. on the respective day. That was the easy part, though. So here we go.
Oh my God. We are going to be here
so
all day.
The ticket pricing system itself is changed from what it used to be, which is why I want to include it in my housekeeping, because I think it's important information. So the ticket pricing is really, really complicated. There's a million different tickets and there's a million different prices. So they're kind of doing like a tier system, and it depends on how many days you're going, what tier ticket you get, what type of ticket it is. So instead of listing like every single price, like I said, we can post it on our Instagram, but also go to the Disneyland website. But the tickets range from a 1-day tier 1 ticket for admission to one park is $104. And it goes all the way up to a 5-day park hopper ticket for $415. One thing that is a little odd is that the 1-day tier, sorry, this is so confusing, is that a 1-day tier 1 ticket, they don't have any reservations. So you cannot make a reservation if you book that type of ticket. The website says that to accommodate as many types of ticket holders as possible, reservation for select days may become available on a rolling basis. So I think that after all the higher tier tickets or the more expensive tickets have been sold and reservations are made for those specific tickets, whatever's left, they'll open it up for the tier 1 1-day tickets to make their reservations. So basically, if you only want to spend $104, you're going to get what's left over. Yeah.
Wow.
I want to say on average, like a 1 day. So in order to go any day of the week to make a reservation, you have to do a 1 day 5-tier ticket. So a 1 day, 1 park ticket that's in the 5th tier. And it was like $155. Yeah. And you can only make one. That's one ticket, mind you.
Okay, though. First of all, just like one little flaw with this, 4-day tier whatever the fuck, 4-day park hopper Disneyland tickets. Who the fuck needs 4? Do they have to be, I almost just said served consecutively. That's how you know I listen to too much true crime. Does it have to be one trip, or can those be like spread out throughout the year?
It doesn't say, but I'm going to assume that it's like Walt Disney World, where you get like a certain time frame that you have to use it in. Yeah.
Jesus.
Nobody is spending 4 days in Disneyland.
Right.
What?
Yeah. So like the whole tier system tends to be based on like what day of the week you can go. And it really only applies to single day tickets. So I think that if you're going to go, get a 2-day ticket, because there's no tier system. You can just book it. And you can just make that reservation. But it even applies to like the 1-day park hopper tickets. They have a tier system also. And the only reservations that are out right now on the Disneyland website are from April 30th when it opens all the way until June 30th, so the end of June. So you can only make reservations for the next month and a week, 2 months and a week. So yeah, other than that, I mean, Fast Pass is not going to be happening. Fireworks shows, parades, all of that stuff. Single rider queues also will not be happening. Yeah, there's a full list of attractions on the Disneyland website, which I guess we can also post on our Instagram of what's going to be open. And also the Grand Californian's opening on April 29th. So that was a lot, but I think since it's a different, I felt that it was important information to get out there.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's funny that you bring up like all this fucked up ticketing system, because that was almost my therapy session today of just how much Disney is really trying to squeeze every last penny out of us now, and it's making it impossible for annual pass holders and like single day park ticket holders now in Disneyland, like people who clearly live in the area, because you guys don't have annual pass at all. Clearly people who live in the area who can drop by any day, they're making it like almost impossible for you to get into the park, because they want to squeeze the money out of the people who are going to spend a week in Disneyland or pay an astronomical price for these fucking tier systems.
And I was looking at the calendar, and like the tier 1 for $104 or whatever I said, it only, or no, sorry, not tier 1, tier 2. So the next one up, I don't remember how expensive that one is, but that only gets you into the park Mondays and Tuesdays. That's it.
My God.
So like tier 1 is like nothing right now. Tier 2 is Monday, Tuesday. Tier 3 is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Tier 4 is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I think Friday, maybe just Thursday. And then tier 5 is all days.
Disney really said,
and each one is
literally
increases in price.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yikes.
But I also think that this is what they're going to base their new annual pass system. I'm pretty sure that this is going to kind of be similar, and see what comes out of that from what they've said already.
Wow. Well, that's all I really want to hear about Disneyland today. So, Nicole, let's talk about the company.
Well, that's all I really want to hear about Disneyland.
I don't want to hear about it anymore. I'm really kind of actually a little irritated about the ticketing, so I don't want to fucking hear about Disneyland anymore.
So
what's going on?
Do you want to hear about the new community that Disney is in the talks of building in Lake Nona, Florida?
Lake Nona?
Lake Nona.
Nona,
It's like the Disney owned. It's not Disney owned, but that's where their headquarters, like where like their corporate office is.
So they're looking at.
Is it going to be the new celebration?
They said it's going to be similar to a celebration.
Oh, Kurt, you hit it right on the head.
They're developing like a commercial community area and like 4,000 residential, like I'm assuming apartment.
Well,
housing. And it's
we all know what happened in Celebration. Maybe they should rethink that.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, it's still in the works.
Nice.
So, yeah, but that's pretty much it on the Disney company forefront.
Is it going to be for cast members or is it going to be for the public?
Whoever. That's my answer.
Okay.
They don't have anything like.
I doubt it's going to be literally like with this whole area that we live in down here blowing up so fast and like housing competition. They're absolutely going to keep it open for people who are willing to pay like $5,000 per month for rent, even though like places like I live in right now, literally right next to Magic Kingdom are a fraction of that price. But just to live in like the Disney town.
But you know what they're probably going to do? They're probably going to, a lot of rich people are going to buy up houses and do all that stuff in this thing. And then they're going to rent it out as vacation homes.
Yeah, probably.
Oh,
keeping
absolutely.
the rich richer.
Oh yeah, no, that's Disney's plan. But it also says in the article that it's going to be the farthest away community
Lake
area.
Nona is far,
approximately 18 miles from.
And the traffic that way is absolutely fucking awful. So good luck getting to Disney. Nice.
Retweet. Yep, that's all I've got for the Disney company. Nick, what you got for Disney World?
That was very interesting. I'm glad we learned about that today.
Right?
So I know all of you have been on the edge of your seats waiting to find out what was going to happen with the Magical Express. So you know, we all I can speak for all of us. I think we all kind of thought that the Magical Express was just going to turn into like a paid Disney experience that like they just upcharged you on your vacation. We were not that far off, but Disney is actually, when Disney said Magical Express is done, like Magical Express is done through Disney. So Mears, which is the company that owns all of the Magical Express buses, they're like it's not technically third party, but it is third party because Mears they run the Magical Express, but you like book the Magical Express through Disney. So yes.
It's like the supplier.
Yes.
Right.
They're just going to take the program and it's going to be called, it's a really weird name. Mears. I think it's like Mears Connect. Yes, it's called Mears Connect. Yeah. And what a fucking coincidence this is. Right when the Magical Express ends, Mears Connect is going to start. So starting January 2022, you can start riding the Mears Connect. I almost called it Express. So I don't know if I highly doubt the Magical Express wrapping is going to stay. It's probably going to get wrapped in some sort of mirrors, which is really ugly, actually. They look like...
Yeah, like that yellow.
It's like black and yellow.
It's pretty awful. I would also anticipate this to be a paid service, and it's probably not going to be cheap. They're probably going to charge per head, and just enough under what a lift would cost you. So, like...
Which is insane.
It costs like $45 to take a lift. Now, if you think about that, if you're traveling with other people, splitting that cost is not that bad. But I do feel like, let's say Mears even charges like $25 a person. I feel like more people will do that over Uber or Lyft because it's literally the Magical Express. Like you're just paying. Like I can guarantee if we ever don't live in Florida and fly in here, like we would probably pay for it because it's so convenient.
Right.
So yeah,
there's the nickel and diming.
Yes. Yes. The only thing is Mears is making the money now, instead of Disney. So I thought that was really interesting. And I'll be interested to see how it works and how much they're actually going to end up charging people. So yeah, that's all for housekeeping this week. I'm sure that there's like a million other things that we could talk about because I feel like every single day the company is just like hitting us with something else. So
for real.
Curveballs left and right.
But that's going to be it for housekeeping.
Still no catcher Schmidt.
Alrighty, let's take a break and then come back with this week's video.
Great.
All right, everyone, now that we're stopped, let's take a minute to shout out to our socials.
Since you've made it this far, maybe subscribe to our podcast. You can subscribe wherever you're listening, like Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or whatever you're listening on right now.
You can also follow us over on Instagram and TikTok at Foreverland Fairy Tales.
And most importantly, if you want more Disney content or if you want to listen to our podcast on YouTube, make sure you find us there. We're at Foreverland Fairy Tales, and just remember to subscribe.
All right, let's get back to the episode. All right, welcome back. Let's head right into our Frozen POV video that we put out this week. Nick, how about you take the lead in this and give us your experience?
Yeah, so Frozen Ever After is our ride POV this week. And shockingly, this ride is more controversial than some people think it is. I don't think it's that controversial, but doing my research that I've done, my mind was not changed, but I guess opened.
Open.
So I personally love this ride. I think it is a really wholesome ride. I don't think it's worth like a super long wait, but I'm just going to start off with like a brief history, just really brief, and then I'll kind of talk about what you go through as you ride the ride. So this ride is in Epcot, in the Norway Pavilion on the World Showcase, and it replaced a very long-running ride called Maelstrom. And
which I didn't even know existed until Frozen came out and everybody like was up in arms about it.
Exactly. So this is the controversy, which I do think I did ride Maelstrom many, 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 many years ago. And I don't remember it being like all that impressive, but there is just a huge like following of people who are just like still like pressed about Maelstrom being I guess rethemed. So this Maelstrom ride literally ran for like I can't do math that fast, but like over 20 years this ride ran, and it was kind of like a Norwegian, it's called a sea venture. And yeah. So anyway, I watched a ride through of Maelstrom, and I hate like stereotyping like Vikings and stuff because a lot of people don't know the actual history of it. So like this ride, I wasn't impressed. I don't know how close it is to the actual mythology. It's Disney, so I don't know. I don't really care. I didn't really care for it. So when I saw all of these people just like bitching about it nonstop, like, oh my God, we're so upset, Maelstrom's gone. And I'm like, bro, like, have you actually been on this ride? Because it kind of sucks. But then I checked myself, because one of my favorite rides in all of Florida is the E.T. ride in Universal, and it is literally like the most outdated like piece of shit ride that exists, but I love it so much. So I get it, guys. I get it, Maelstrom people. I will probably like go fucking protest at Universal the day they decide to close E.T. So I get it, but
I will be there to tear E.T. down.
Kurt will personally.
They turned it into like a Minion ride.
Literally. So I get it, but Frozen Ever After is a really good ride. And I actually, a lot of these like concerned comments were like, the ride's really nice, but you know, the World Showcase is supposed to be all about culture, and you guys just slapped in a movie ride, and I get it. But
you know what would be really cool is if, like, now that you were saying about it, how it was like with Odin and all this stuff, if they like say it was still the original ride, and they wanted to like up it. Now the Guardians of the Galaxy is there, and they're kind of transforming Epcot. It would be really cool if they made it into like a Thor ride.
Yes, a lot of people did suggest that. The reason why there's a couple of reasons why I think they didn't do that is, one, I don't know if they had bought Marvel by the time, because I'm sure they were thinking of retheming Maelstrom years before they actually did it.
Yeah.
The other thing is like that seems really appealing to like you and me. Even though I love Frozen, I absolutely love the idea of keeping the culture, like, and just having something like from actual culture, not this mythological story about Arendelle or whatever, which isn't even technically like I don't know. I'm not getting into it. But if you think about overall, kids would want to go on Frozen more than I think a Thor ride. So they could add another thrill ride to the mix, but I think apparently Maelstrom was like terrifying to children as well, so I think they wanted to like just bring Frozen into it somehow.
God, could you just imagine? Like, I would love to retheme that ride, and like, the part where you go backwards.
Mm-hmm.
I would just love like Thor to like smash the front of the boat with his hammer as you like fly back, as you get like electrocuted in your seat.
I was just thinking about electrocuting
like,
in my seat.
Actually electrocuted though.
That would be so fun.
Like they just start murdering people.
Yeah.
Great.
Too far.
Well, they didn't do that. So we have Frozen Ever After. So no, we don't get electrocuted in our seats. We get Elsa and her ice castle. And honestly, this ride is so low key. Like you can go on it. Your grandma can go on it. Your kid can go on it. Like you're fine. And
Nicole can go on it. You're safe.
Yeah, Nicole can go on it.
I have a story about somebody who can't go on it. That's why I started laughing. But please continue.
But it's just it's a pretty chill ride. It's really cute. I guess it's technically themed from the first Frozen film. You kind of go through like that film, and you're in a boat, and it's nice. It's literally the exact same Maelstrom track. So if you went on Maelstrom, it is the exact same, except the beginning. They did make that part a little different, but literally everything else, they didn't change it even one bit. Like the part where Elsa goes, "Let it go," like, no, not that. The troll says, not the troll, the fucking snowball thing says, "Let it go." But when Elsa makes, it's the exact same. Like the going backwards and then the turning to the left and then going back and seeing the fucking marshmallow and then going forward. It was the exact same. Not one thing.
I think the ride vehicles are the same too.
So they do look updated because those Maelstrom boats were pretty fucking raggedy. But it's like the Norwegian style boat. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't want to talk about it too much because hearing about a ride and going and watching a YouTube video about riding on a ride, I feel like you'd probably rather watch it than listen to me talk about it. So go check out our YouTube video. That was me that took that one, and it's with the fucking plastic partition. So I had to hold my phone like 6 feet over my head to fucking get this video. So please go watch it. Yeah, you'll enjoy it. So let's talk more.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Kurt. I was gonna call on you anyway.
I was just gonna say I had just researched it because I also didn't know a lot about Maelstrom. I don't fucking know what it's called. That I didn't know anything about it. I've never been on it. Didn't even know it existed until Frozen happened. And I just kind of wanted to, I guess, see what Frozen Ever After has inspired and what's happening because of this ride. Because I think that's always something that's fascinating to me with Disney, is that one thing usually will lead to another cool idea. And that didn't disappoint with this. So this ride basically inspired a lot of new lands and new rides and a whole bunch of new experiences across the world in Disney parks. So I believe it's the exact same ride is going to be built in Hong Kong Disneyland, Tokyo Disney Sea, and Walt Disney Studios Park in Paris. In Hong Kong specifically, though, the ride is going to be part of their new Frozen themed land, which is called Arendelle World of Frozen.
Ooh,
Super original.
Like World of Avatar, Pandora.
Yeah, literally. So I deep dived on that a little bit more. And the setting of it is going to take place after Frozen 1, but before Frozen 2. And like their storyboard for the land itself is that peace and prosperity has finally returned to the kingdom of Arendelle, and Queen Elsa has decreed a summer snow day for all the kingdom's citizens. So that's like the theme of the land in Hong Kong. But they're also adding a new ride called Wandering Oaken's Sliding Sleighs. Which was really hard for me to say, and I don't know why that's the name. But it's basically going to be...
Is that why it was hard to say?
Big summer blowout.
It's going to be, like, after Mine Train, it's going to be very similar to the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train in Magic Kingdom. So yeah, it's currently under construction, and they're opening, I think, at the end of this year. But I think it's really cool that something that Epcot has conceived is inspiring a whole bunch of different lands and rides and a whole bunch of stuff throughout the world of Disney.
That is cool. And I'm so glad, though, that these other parks are also running with it, because I really think that they might actually have a different track, which means instead of this, like, it almost honestly feels like a retheme or even like a overlay, because it's so similar from the original ride. I'm wondering if they're going to update it in a different way that's like even more exciting. So that's cool. Cool,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, Nicole, what do you have?
Buckle up. So it's so fucked up that I'm laughing about this, but here we are. So I was searching.
You
laughed about all of the dead people last week.
She's literally going to tell a story about something that happened to someone who tried to ride this ride. Nicole, you're fucking terrible.
I know. So I searched Frozen ride Walt Disney World Dark.
Ooh.
Right? Okay. I know. So naturally the first headline like took me out. Like I fell out of my chair. And it's 27-year-old guest with spina bifida sues Disney over intense drop in Frozen Ever After attraction at Epcot.
Ooh. It's not intense, though. What is she talking about?
It's 28 feet.
Right. You gently glide down 28 feet.
So it says the 27-year-old Chicago area woman. I'm not going to mention any names, though, because yikes. She uses a wheelchair.
Okay.
She made sure to check with the cast members before riding the attraction to make sure that the drop was gentle, because she had brain surgery 6 weeks ago and she can... I know!
Then don't go on a fucking roller coaster.
Her doctor said she could go on the slow moving ride. So the cast member was like, yeah, the drop is not intense at all. And
it's not.
If you look at the verbiage used on the attraction's like website within the Disney website, it lists the attraction as a small drop, which it is. And like I said, that bitch had undergone. She had brain surgery 6 weeks prior.
Yeah.
And she can do like the slow moving vehicles. And the end of the article says that the ride's drop led to her having a violent backlash, hitting her head on the seat, causing a mental fog with slurred speech and neck pain. Her family has scheduled an MRI to understand the full extent of potential damage.
I'm sorry.
That sounds like her own problem.
You're a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Do you want to guess how much money they're suing Disney for?
It's probably like $3 million.
No, it's only $30,000 in damages.
Sorry. Okay. My thing is, why the fuck are you at Disney World 6 weeks after brain surgery? And then being like, oh, I can go on a fucking ride. Like, you're just an asshole, first of all.
And then just trusting somebody else's opinion. Not
They
even like a statement.
They said that they're suing because the cast members weren't trained enough to know the rigorous level of
this
the
was
ride.
2014, you said?
No, God, no. This was last
No, the
year.
ride wasn't even built in 2014. Okay.
This was January of 2020.
So, the fact that YouTube is in existence and there's ride-throughs,
Right.
and the fact that on the website it has, on the website and on the ride entrance, it has that there is a small drop. It is your fucking job to make sure you're okay riding rides. Like,
because they attested to doing
doctor-
rides like Small World because of, I think Small World's got that little dip in the beginning, and they were like, that's fine.
If you go and if your doctor says, hey, you can go to Disney World, but you can only ride like the calming, like slow rides, I would think Small World, Figment, Haunted Mansion, like Omni-Mover rides, something that you just like literally sit in.
Living with
Not
the
a
Land,
fucking
Spaceship
boat
Earth,
ride.
every other ride in Epcot besides Test Track.
I don't think the first ride that does not come to my mind is Frozen Ever After.
Great. Oh. People are
that's
fucking
my
worst.
fun fact about the Frozen ride. I thought that was too good to share. So
Okay,
you're welcome.
first of all, I'm sorry you have spina bifida. That sucks. Not your fault. Hitting your head on a boat and like fucking up your life, your fault. Like,
Right.
So annoying.
Also, all of the signs on every single Disney ride saying that if you have any medical conditions, to not go on the
Don't
ride.
fucking ride it. Don't fucking ride it.
Yeah.
You have spina fucking bifida and you had brain surgery. Like, what the fuck are you thinking? I'm like really upset about 99% of the things we're talking about today, and I don't know why. Fuck.
Yeah, I found another article on it, and they haven't said anything about the court case. So
You need to keep us
Yeah.
updated on that, Nicole.
I'll see if I can find more.
Disney
about
ain't
it.
got no
Yeah.
fucking money. They're like, we can't pay her. Like, oh man, yikes!
Yeah. So
All right. Well, great. Head over to our YouTube channel, Foreverland Fairy Tales, and check out our Frozen Ever. I need to have brain surgery.
don't go on Frozen Ever After.
Frozen Ever After ride, POV ride through. But yeah, let's take a break and we will come back with our therapy session. Alrighty, welcome back. Let's dive right into this therapy session and let's see what Nick is going to talk about this week.
I'm not.
Head first.
I'm not
Head
fucking
first, no
around.
floaties.
I'm not ready for this. Now I'm definitely
no
like
floaties.
the old
Get it,
lady
get it.
smoking the cigarette, like being like really fucking run down because this therapy session, it's rough.
Hell yeah.
So,
I'm ready.
this therapy session is going to be my horror stories of staying off-site. Now, I will say, probably I haven't stayed off-site probably in like 3 years. I haven't had the best experiences with staying off-site, as we will find out. So if that's your thing, though, like, hey, man, no judgment. I just, like, sometimes you get what you pay for, and I've got some good examples of that. Okay, so I've stayed off-site ranging from, like, probably like 10 years, 11 years ago to now. So a lot has changed in that time, and I cannot promise that any of this is still the same. So don't come at me.
But it's still your experience, so it's valid.
Right. Okay. So I would like to start off and say, like, staying off-site really is a 50-50 shot of, like, you getting scabies or being fine. So
Literally.
just warning you, unless you're staying in, like, a chain-style, really nice hotel, you're running the risk.
I'm so sorry. You really triggered a memory of me getting scabies at a hotel in Florida.
It's a literal thing that happened. And yeah.
Oh man, it wasn't near Disney World, but it still happened, and it's just not something that I like to revisit.
Yeah. All of my stories are going to be in the Kissimmee area. So if you've never been to Florida or Disney World before, there's this town, I don't know, called Kissimmee. And if you're staying off site, I can 99% say that you're staying in Kissimmee. So yeah, all of my stories happen there. I think Kurt's story probably happened in Kissimmee.
Didn't you and I say that it was like a knockoff version of the Wisconsin Dells?
Yes.
Which is
terrible.
Like a knockoff version of like Vegas.
It's seriously, Kissimmee consists of hotels.
It's a knockoff of a knockoff.
Yes, it's hotels, fast food chains, and gift shops. And when I'm talking about gift shops, I mean, like, try and drop acid and picture you want to put a gift shop together and you're thinking like Disney, so you decide to make it 100-foot wizard and slap it on the top of a gift shop. I'm not even kidding. That's how they all are.
You're not even exaggerating. No. My favorite one is the giant weird like fiberglass like American like the bald eagle.
Yes. It's a crazy place. It is a crazy place, but if you're staying off site, you're probably staying in Kissimmee. So I'll just go ahead and say too, Kissimmee is the city. If any of you have seen this meme, it is my favorite thing in the whole planet. It is a meme and it shows, it's like how it says Orlando when I visit, like Orlando when I visit is the first thing, and it shows like Mickey in front of the Cinderella castle and he's like all happy, and then it shows like when I live in Orlando is the second picture, and it shows like this wet rat like in a cold dark basement but it's not like an actual rat.
He's in a sewer.
It's like someone in a very, very badly made Mickey costume, like staying in a wet, dank, like sewer. Yeah. And that is Kissimmee.
Think of the first Mickey.
Yes.
Think of the first Mickey in costume ever, but like you dumped a bucket of unknown substance.
We have to post this on Instagram because it's so fucking true.
Yes.
So this is all of Kissimmee. So a lot of the rooms, some of the times I've stayed, we've been able to get rooms for like $20 a night. And you get what you pay for. Pretty much if you're paying under $80 a night for a room off-site, you're going to get the hotels that don't care about mold. And let me tell you, it's fucking Florida down here. It's a rainforest and shit molds in like 3.5 seconds. So all of those nasty moldy ass hotels from people not fucking turning their shower vents on and fucking blasting the fucking air conditioning, like they're gross. Like you may get pneumonia from all of the mold that goes into your lungs. But anyway, it's just wild down here. So I'm going to tell my best stories and I'm going to let you guys pick. So which one should I start with?
Hojo.
We want to start with this one?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay, I see a clear path. So let's start with the Haunted Hojo. So this was about 10 years ago. I had just graduated, I think, like high school it was like my first year of college. I was probably like 19. And my mom and I wanted to go. I actually started this story on a different podcast. So if you've listened to it, I've started this story. My mom said we're going for under like $500 or whatever. And she found a hotel. It was $25 a night. And it was at a Hojo. And I told this of how Hojos back then were really awful. And it was like the lowest of the low. And Hojos now are actually like, I think semi-decent. I don't know. Maybe they're still awful. Mm-hmm. So we booked this room. And like our first clue that this place was a little off was we like go in the elevator. And like the floor is ripped up on it. One of the windows were cracked like looking outside. And there was like what are they called? An out of order sign like crinkled up like in the corner. And we're like, whatever, it's fine. So we take the elevator up. It was very sketch. It was very scary. And we get to our room, and it's pretty fucking awful. It's like the size of a closet with 2 full beds, and you could clearly tell that someone had chain smoked at least 5 packs of cigarettes in there every day for 100 years. And it was just bad. So I don't want this to sound like insensitive, but this definitely was a hotel where people probably like went to shoot up and like do drugs. It like a picture that in your head of like the motels where people like go to do very hard drugs.
Think of the sewer Mickey.
Right. And that's pretty much what this was. Like, no judgment. We chose to stay there. We knew, like, we read the reviews. We knew it was going to be pretty rough. So whatever. But anyway, my mom's on a bed. I'm on a bed. And above the beds is this fucking, like, giant painting of George Washington, like, crossing the fucking Delaware. Like, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh my God.
And it's literally like 6 feet by like 5 feet. It's huge.
He probably hung it there himself.
Literally. And like this fucker was like bolted into the wall. I swear it had to be. It was so big. So anyway, we go to bed and you know the lights go out and you hear a lot of bullshit. Like you're in a fucking hotel. So we just were like, oh, the bumps around the room. Like it's just the fucking hotel. It's fine. So we're sleeping. And all of a sudden, I hear like a lot of ruffling and rustling around. And in my brain, I'm like, someone fucking broke in here. And I'm looking and, you know, it's the dark. You can kind of see and there's no one in the room. And like, it sounds like the chair is being like lifted, whatever. So I roll back over and I start to try and sleep again. And maybe like, I don't know how long it was because I didn't check the time when I woke up, and I woke up again to something hitting me in the head. And I'm like, okay, like I'm probably getting like fucking bludgeoned to death right now by whoever broke in. And no, so I like fly up and turn the light on, and my mom and I are both like, oh my God, like what the fuck was that, right? And I'm pretty sure I was bleeding. And we look, and this fucking painting of George Washington is over by the bathroom. So mind you, think of a hotel room you've stayed in. The beds are facing like the wall with the TV, and then you usually have to walk down like a slight, it's like an entryway, you know what I mean? Like to get to the bathroom. So you think of this George Washington painting. If it were to have just fallen, it probably would have either stayed on the bed or like rolled off maybe up to the TV. Sorry. But think of physics. Nothing can move to the side without force, right? So it's not a passive fall. And this fucker was like whipped against the almost entry door. And we're like, are you fucking serious? Like, how did this giant painting get whipped across the room, somehow hitting both of us and then getting whipped across the room? So the whole stay, it was like this. Like we would put it back up and we would see that it was like thick nails like in the wall keeping this painting. Every night was very loud.
Why didn't you put it outside of the room?
Well, we didn't want to fuck with it, I guess. I guess like it really didn't sink in that it was becoming a problem like until it was almost every night. And it was never like, it never just like fell like normally. Like it would get whipped across the room or something else would get whipped across the room and like slam into the wall. It was also just a very spooky room. Like I just remember like feeling very like uncomfortable in it. And besides the painting, like cups on the nightstand would like fly. Not, I wouldn't say fly because the only thing that really flew across the room was the painting, but like cups would fall off. Like there ain't no fucking cat in there. I really hope someone was like living in the ceiling and like coming down while we were sleeping and fucking with us.
And they kept their stash like behind the George Washington painting.
Right. So they would rip it off the wall every night.
So yeah.
They lived under the bed.
Yeah, it's really funny because I have like horrible digital camera photos of this room and like me and my mom in this room. I don't know. I felt bad vibes. So it could have been like someone fucking like living under the bed or something. But these beds had like the wood sides. So it's not like, you know, we just missed someone being, I don't know. But that was
they just
fucked
gotta
up.
carve a little door.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that was awful.
Out.
Maybe. I don't like to think about it because either way, like, I love paranormal shit, like, but like for something to haunt a hotel room, it means that something very heinous probably happened. So I don't like to think about that. And if someone was in the room, that is literally like my worst fear, is that someone is living in a room that I'm sleeping in and I don't know. Yeah. And I promise if you've made it this far, this is my favorite story by far, because I still think I slipped into a fourth dimension of some like non-existent parallel universe. Because this story like still doesn't make sense in my brain when I tell it, and I don't understand why. So this was only like 4 years ago too. So it was recent, and it's a hotel that's still in existence where the other two are no longer in existence. So a friend and I and my mom and my stepdad flew down to Florida to go to a convention. And we ended up going to Disney too, so it's relevant. But we stayed in a hotel in Kissimmee, Kissimmee is south of Walt Disney World, but you can stay on one side where you're closer to Universal. So we stayed kind of close to Universal, and this fucking place. So we roll up and there's like a whole bunch of mattresses just like laying outside, and we're like, okay, whatever. Like, that's not that weird. We get in our room. And
I mean, that's pretty weird.
It was a little weird. But we just like carried on. We get into our room and we're like putting all of our shit away, and we lay on the bed, and they left like the plastic wrapping on the mattress. So like, but they made it like the sheets were on it, and there was nothing we could really do about it because we didn't want to tear off this plastic and get charged for it. So that was semi-normal.
Stop it. So you
literally any move, wrapping? It was like sleeping on newspaper. It was that loud. Literally,
from Big Daddy.
Literally, like from Big Daddy. I was cry laughing the whole time we were trying to sleep.
Go to sleep.
Yes, exactly.
I wet the bed.
Maybe it's on there for people like that get like murdered or wet the bed or
like
something.
Bed bugs or something.
I don't know, but it was very annoying. That wasn't even. This isn't even. We're not even close to the weird part. Like, not even slightly close. So I had just. It was literally like the first month I started dating my my partner, and I wanted to go take a phone call, and I didn't want to fucking be in the room with my mom or my friend. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go up to this like pool. And it was like an elevated pool. It was kind of cool. It was secluded. So I'm up there talking on the phone, whatever, sitting around. And this guy, real sketch, he's got his hood up, right? And he's like slanking around on top of he's slanking around, right? And he gets real close to me with his hood up. And I was like, this motherfucker's going to kill me right now. And he's like, hey, have you seen any security guards? I was like, this is it. And I was like, no, I haven't seen one for a little bit. And I'm pretty sure this was like at 11:30 or midnight. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, because I really wanted to smoke this fat blunt. And like just pulls out this blunt and just starts like smoking away. Like, no big deal. Still not to the weird part. This was a little scary. So this is the last part. The most confusing still. So I don't know why we were up so late. We were hungry or something. We were walking back and forth from the rooms, me and my friend. And we're walking past like the other rooms on our floor, and it's Florida, so all of the rooms, a lot of hotels have like the door connecting on the outside. Like, there aren't hallways. You just go in straight from outside. So whatever, we're just walking around. And we walk past this room, and the door is wide open, like wide open. And we're intrigued because we see this like blonde older woman like sitting on the bed. She's alive, but she was like kind of slumped over. And we're like, that's kind of weird. So we walk, I think maybe we went to a vending machine and we walk back and we walk past the room and we see it's in the same, the door is in the same position. The woman is in the same position. But this time there are birds flying everywhere in this room. And I'm not talking about like sparrows. I'm talking about like parrots and like,
Oh my God.
like cockatiels and like very exotic birds flying around in this room with the door open and this woman like slumped over on this bed. And we're like, are we seeing this right now? Like, are we seeing this? And we stood for like a second and then all of a sudden this man like stands up. He must have been standing like the door wasn't fully, it was like 3/4 open. He must have been standing against the wall and the little bit behind the door. And then he just moves so we could see half of his face and then shuts the door. And we were like,
I think I would have thrown up and ran.
We were laughing because we didn't know what the fuck we just saw. We were like, what the actual fuck was that? Like, literally, what was that? And we just walked away and cry laughed for the entire rest of the night. The next morning, the maid service was around and they were cleaning the room and there was nobody in there. There was no cages for birds. Like, literally, the room was cleared the next morning. And we were like, did we just witness a crime? Did we fall through, like I said, a crack in the universe? Like, it was a very strange phenomenon.
Nope, you're just in Florida.
Yeah. So, I have probably like 15 more stories about this, but those I think were my most exciting stories about staying off site. So just know the purpose of this therapy session was for you to know that if you choose to stay off site, you pay for what you get for, and Florida is really fucking weird. So be safe.
Not everything is magic, kids.
Be safe and use TripAdvisor to your best ability. And that's all I got.
Good.
Nice. All right, let's head into our coping session this week, and this is my session. So I'm going to do something a little different this time. I'm gonna let this be a communal coping session because I think it's important for our listeners to, I guess, hear our experience. And I feel like you two maybe have more experience than I do. For reasons which you will find out.
I'm kind of scared.
Slap the shit out of you.
I'm a little scared.
So I would like to give some coping advice on how we can deal being forced, not really being forced, I guess, but I guess how we can deal having to spend a day in the most magical place on earth with a most negative person on earth.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think that's something that is really anxiety inducing for a lot of people. And I think that if one person is in a bad mood, it just brings down everybody's experience. So I would like to just like come up with some ways to cope on that.
Ooh. Make sure you're the one that has the car keys. That's the first thing. I mean, Kurt, do you want to start off? Do you want to?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say I haven't had too much experience with this because I haven't been to a park with somebody who I don't like. And I feel like, I mean, I really have only been to, Disney parks with either my friends in grade school, high school. I wish I was able to go to Disney in grade school.
Same.
Either, high school or, with Peter or with you guys. So I haven't really had like a terrible experience with somebody in the park. I will speak on Peter's behalf. He has been to Disneyland with somebody that completely ruined an entire trip for him.
Damn.
And it was really sad.
I hope it was you.
No, it wasn't. I would say that a way to cope with it would just to really be to lean into the friends who are there supporting the positive situation and not really give into the negativity that is coming off of that person, which is a lot more, it's a lot easier than it is to say that than it is to actually do that, which is why I wanted it to be a communal coping session.
Sure.
Because I feel like you guys have a little bit more experience in that field,
Yeah.
and can give our listeners a little bit more advice.
Nicole, I can tell you're ready to go. Go for it.
I feel like ever since I mentioned this, Nicole's brain turned into a Rolodex and has just been flipping through the files.
She's
See-
very tense right now too.
I mean, it's a little triggering, but so I really lost it when you said just like cling to the other people who are there with you. What if you're the only fucking person with the other person?
Right.
I'm sorry.
See, I think that needs to be, because I feel, okay, hear me out. The reason I want to do this is because like I feel like if somebody was in that situation, like say you were one of our listeners in that situation, I feel like you would want to know what other people have done.
That's fair.
Well,
So-
especially because the situation applies to if you have a date go wrong at a theme park and you're stuck with that person for the rest of the day.
Yikes.
See, okay. I have been in situations where I have not been the car key holder. I've been told to take an Uber if I didn't want to be where I was going to be, which really pissed me off.
And this was all at Walt Disney World?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I have been given the silent treatment, which includes trailing behind them, like 4 feet behind them. I don't know. No, I don't. I'm not going to speak on any more of the situation because it really does suck to think about. My recent trips to Disney have been very positive. And I really did in the end try to just make the best of it because it was my money in Disney that I was spending, you know. I think just like literally the only thing you can do is just understand that you're not the person in the situation that's making it negative and that you just need to do what you can to enjoy your time there kind of thing, because it is still like a moment in your life that you're going to remember. So why are you going to make it a negative experience if that other person wants to live to make others miserable? You know, I don't know. I guess it's easier said than done. But it's just kind of what I've learned.
I think it's important to know, and I think this is something that the three of us have really, I don't want to say the word coined, but I feel like the three of us have really hung on to the fact throughout the pandemic and like our anxiety skyrocketing with the pandemic of like, you are in control of you and you can you know, change the trajectory of your anxiety if you understand and if you're able to be like, okay, I'm in control of how I feel right now. So let me do something that is going to either I can remove myself from the situation, I can go get a Mickey ice cream bar, I can do something to make me feel better.
Right.
So I think that that's still good advice to, you know, keep telling people and keep putting that out there into the universe.
Right.
Because it applies to a lot of situations.
Right.
Yeah. So what about you, Nick?
Yeah, before I knew how to cope with the situation, I could definitely say that I really struggled. I remember having like a really terrible panic attack in the Sci-Fi Diner. Sorry about that, waiter who had to deal with us because of it. And it literally like ruined the whole day for me because I straight up like couldn't process it and just fucking lost it in this restaurant. So I want you on your next Walt Disney World trip to add up your flight, your ticket price, your resort, how much you spent to stay at Walt Disney World. And I want you to divide it by the hours you have in the park. And I want you to tell me if you think it's worth it to ruin 1 hour because of someone else's attitude with the money you spent on the same vacation. But that's how I started justifying me changing my outlook on the situation, because I have let entire days in Disney get kind of destroyed with a very negative person. And then I decided that it was my money and my trip too. So if you think about it, at the very worst, you may have to spend the day alone in Disney. You may have to set your clear boundaries and letting this individual know that you spent just as much money as they did to be there, and your time deserves to be respected. And if that person doesn't want to go along with that, then they may do Disney on their own until they're able to be around another person and be a positive contributor to your day. If you need to argue it out with that person and you need space, like, that's perfectly fine. Like I was going to say, at the very worst, you're going to have to pay for a ride service home. You're going to have to take a Disney bus back to your resort by yourself, and you may have an uncomfortable night. But at the end of the day, you have only maybe at most 10 to 12 hours in the park. And you worked really hard to get yourself there, and you shouldn't have to submit to negativity and someone who's trying to ruin it. Because like I said, you may have worked very hard to make this Walt Disney World trip work, and you deserve it. And yeah, you have the power, like we said, to control your own day. And that person who flew there with you, it's not like they can strand you there. So fuck them.
Yeah. And I wanted to bring this up because I feel that it's been long enough since you guys have had these experiences that I think it's I feel like a safe amount of time for you to look back and maybe assess the situation and like what you wish you could do differently or how you would handle it differently. Now that you're able to be in a better mental space with going to Disney in the parks. But yeah, I think it's really important for people to hear, because I know that you're not alone in that situation. I'm sure that it happens more often than we think. And I think it's good to remember the financial end of it, because I mean, Disney, we say this all the time, Disney's a business, it's expensive. They want to make money, so you're going to be spending a lot of money. So I think it's important to think of the financial aspect of that, because that's something that I wouldn't think of. I would just, be worried about my day being ruined. But I mean, kind of thinking of that too, I feel like as much anxiety as I mean, this is for me, because I'm not one to shy away from confrontation when it's affecting my personal like life and day and like the people that I care about. So I think that I would personally, like, my advice would be to end the situation, like confront the person, talk to them, handle it. And if they're not going to handle it, then go do your own thing. And like, don't let it draw out the entire day and destroy, like you said, 10, 12 hours that you've paid for. Yeah, I think it's nice to hear, I think, from other people what you can do. Because I think it's also hard to, I think, in the situation that you would be in, and that is to take advice from your friends while you're in the heat of the moment. So yeah. All right, great. That's my coping session. Hey.
Nice. It's a good one because it's very relevant, and it's it's hard, you guys. Like, it's really hard. Like, I've literally sat in silence with someone in Disney World for over 8 hours. Like, literally had a full meal with someone sitting across from you who refuses to talk. And it was before I knew that I had the power to change it. So very good coping session. I appreciate it. Needed that.
Nice. All right. Well, like we said in the beginning, I'm Kurt.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Nicole.
And we are Magically Unstable.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening. And make sure you check us out next week and on our socials, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, Foreverland Fairy Tales. We come up with new episodes every Friday.
Yay.
All right, guys. We will talk to you next week. And
stay safe
goodbye.
and stay magical. Bye.
Bye.